This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to the third week of the Arrowverse Weekly Review, where I'll be going over the fifth episode of the fourth season of Black Lightning, the second episode of the seventh season of The Flash, and the third episode of the first season of Superman and Lois. That one did not air an episode this week, so let's go right into Black Lightning. I think this episode was pretty good overall. It introduced the return of Black Lightning, since he retired after his good friend's death at the end of Season 3. And it also had an odd twist where one of the actors was replaced because of some weird lightning thing or whatever. I don't know how to really explain it. You just have to watch the episode to do it. And I think that it's pretty interesting that they did recast. And I actually wasn't paying that well attention at first and thought that she lost her memory. And then I checked online. I was like, oh, they recasted. Like I said before, I'm not that invested in the show. So that's why I didn't really notice the recast. But I do love the Flash reference they made. I kind of just wish they did have the lightning thing come in, like it did a few times in Arrow and other shows. Even though he doesn't need to appear in it, that would be really cool to do. Speaking of the Flash, let's go into that crazy episode. And just say from the start, that's one of my favorite episodes of the series. I could not believe how crazy that was. And this is the first time in a while that an individual episode of Flash, not considering crossovers, made me at the edge of my seat and truly excited. Although there have been good episodes before, I haven't really felt this way since maybe around Season 1 to Season 2, which is truly something to say, since that was some of the best time of The Flash, and the show has so far been 2-0 for good episodes. First off, Emotionless Barry was a very interesting concept, and it seemed very cool that Barry was thinking only logically, and one of the biggest twists, at least before the multiple endings to the episode, was that Barry was, at least you think, wanted to save Iris because he cared for her over the others, but we really learn that this emotionless Barry only cares because he would need the best intel from Iris, which is very interesting. And I really did love Barry in this episode, and think that Grant Gustin has been doing an amazing job acting in the last few episodes of this series, with him pulling off each Wells almost perfectly last week, and pulling off this emotionless, logical Barry this week. Going on from that, I want to talk about probably one of the coolest sequences in the show ever, which was Team Flash fighting the Flash, which I really did enjoy. I thought it was very entertaining to see this. I definitely loved how Killer Frost took Velocity X and was able to keep up with Barry and fight him. We also had a fun time with the other members of Team Flash trying to take him down, and it was truly a chilling moment when Barry said, "You have lost before the battle before it even began," when that one ball that Cisco created came in, taking out the rest of Team Flash. And I really think that this fight was amazing and was the best things the show has done in a while. I think it still would have been fun if the other members of Team Flash were here, like if Ralph was here. If he was ever off the show, I would love to see how he would interact and try to take Barry down. And I would like to see how the other members of Team Flash would react, since we had the characters like Joe and everyone else not even being there. And I think that would make things even more interesting for them trying to take down Barry. Looking at this episode's multiple endings and cliffhangers, It is definitely interesting to start thinking about this. Going into the first one, Barry finally realizes that's able to break through the artificial speed force and realize what he has done. Barry looks upon everything that he's done. He sees Team Flash completely knocked out and injured from him. He then sees Iris nearly dying, and finally looks upon everything and goes and throws a lightning bolt into the artificial speed force, likely destroying it or disabling it for now. Cliffhanger number 2 deals with Eva as she begins to truly realize what has happened with her and how she's not the real one, after Barry earlier in this episode revealed to the world that she's not the real Eva. Looking at it, I think that this was an amazing reaction for her to be saying that I will make this world mine and is starting to replace the people of Central City. And this definitely was an interesting twist, and it sets up a very interesting finale for The Flash, and I can't wait to see how this continues. But looking at the final ending to this episode, this definitely gives us the biggest and craziest moment as we flash back to the time when Eobard Thawne killed the original Harrison Wells, all the way back right after he killed Barry's mother, so he would be able to take on Team Flash in the future and set up his plan. We now learn that the original Harrison Wells has been brought back to life, at least as far as we know, and although it's very unlikely, and I think it's just original Wells returning to life, for some reason Thawne could be returning into that Wells body, but I don't think that's likely, and I can't wait to see this happening. And this will set up some interesting stuff to see how this character deals with the death of Tess Morgan, who he loved, and she died almost immediately before the moment he died. Just to wrap everything up, I know if I don't make myself wrap up now, I might be talking even longer on it, and I want to get into Superman and Lois. So I think that overall this episode was one of the best of the show, and definitely would make it into a top 10 list. I don't know the exact number, but I feel like it would make it on there. I would just think, and I don't really have that much time to do it right now. But let's continue on. Looking at Superman and Lois, the episode, again, was amazing. To be honest, the greatest flaw of this episode is that it aired immediately after that amazing episode of The Flash, and I was way more concerned thinking about how The Flash ended, and kind of had to rewind this episode and rewatch the opening scene. But that is no fault of this show, and it's more a fault of the scheduling time. So the show really isn't at that fault. I think that this episode was still amazing, and they've definitely done a great job with the show. And to mention, I love how the Superman costume looks. I think they did such a good job making the costume, and it just looks very realistic, and it just looks really good. I just can't express how good it looks. Overall, with the show, I think it was amazing. You definitely have it interesting with the son of Jordan going into football, and with everything going on, with the attack on Lois, and Clark definitely trying to figure things more out for himself. I definitely enjoyed this episode, and think it's good that they aren't exclusively focusing on the Captain Luther stuff, because that might get old very fast. And think they did a good job still with this, focusing on the Morgan Edge character, and a potential Kryptonian working for him at the end of the episode, killing the enforcer he had. That failed him. I definitely think that this episode is getting even more intense, and this will build up to definitely stuff that will be even better in the long run. I really cannot wait to see where this goes. And I think Superman and Lois definitely is one of the greatest shows in the Arrowverse. And I'm really sad to say that they're going to be taking a break from it for about a month to air episodes of Supergirl, which I still think is an okay show, just not as good as this. But I'm so glad I'll be at least getting episodes of The Flash, because I don't think we could take another break right now with the long break we just had. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories, and may the Force be with you.